Welcome to Grant Rock Warehouse, and tonight we are live. Davey Cretin is going to be here, and we are going to look at two more STYX albums tonight. We're going to look at The Grand Illusion from 1977 and Pieces of 8 from 1978. It's the STYX series. Let's go.
Grant is changing the world one track at a time on Grant Rock Warehouse.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live, and I'm back from the 80s cruise. If you didn't tune into last night's show, well, then it's new. I'm new. I'm back. And look, Davey's here. And we are going to continue our STYX series tonight. We are looking at The Grand Illusion 1977 and Pieces of 8 from 1978. Mr. Cretin, how are you? Nice to see you tonight.
Excellent. Thank you for having me. Welcome to The Grand Illusion. Come on in and see what's happening. Pay the price. Get your tickets for the show. But there is no price. We are free on YouTube on Grant's Rock Warehouse, baby.
There you go, man. Let's all applaud. All right. I want to thank everybody coming in from the chat. We're going to go over there and say hello. Look at that. There's Sydney of all people.
Hi,
look, Sticks and Stones. Young Logan, not sleeping, ladies and gentlemen. He is awake right now, which is odd. What else? Zappa. Zappa is stoked. Nice to see you. Webb. I just talked to Webb 3 minutes ago. Imagine that. We just did our sweet. This is coming. I'll try to get this up tomorrow. I can't promise you anything because you know how it works in the warehouse. We just did our top 5 sweet albums. So look forward to that. That'll be coming up soon. Zappa is saying hi to Webb. Logan is probably a big fan of this. Funny how sweet Coco can be. He seems like someone who would like it. Webb, don't give things away in the chat. Logan wants to know if these STYX albums are any good. I have no idea. I've never heard any of them. Anyway, let's keep going. I do appreciate everybody coming on. Oh, there's Ernesto, and he's not late. My God. All right, so let's get going. Davey, I'm just going to turn it over to you. Do you want to start us out and talk about the Grand Illusion a little bit?
Here I have.
And what we'll do, since we are live, just to mention this real quick. We're going to take a ranking like we did before. We're going to rank it out of 10, and I want everybody in the chat, I want your ranking as well out of 10 when the time comes. So hold tight. So let's talk a little bit about the Grand Illusion, Dave, and we'll get going.
Here I have the gold CD from, I think, 2011, 2010, close. It has nice packaging. We'll take it out for a second. Show you the booklet so there's no glare. There's the album cover. Now this is based on a painting by Belgian artist René Magritte. And here is the original painting from 1965. It's called The Blank Signature. And here is the cover of the album. Well, you can see it next to Grant's thumbnail there. So it's based on the René Magritte painting, 1965, The Blank Signature. Really fast. Besides the album cover, there's the back cover. And the gold CD. Now, I always thought that when you have a gold CD, it's a myth. I think it's the mastering. I don't think it matters if it's aluminum or gold, but that's my opinion on that.
It doesn't matter. It could be, it's just gold is probably going to last longer, but most CDs are going to last longer. They're going to outlive us anyway, but it really has who cares if it's gold or not? A lot of those MoFis, oh, look at you. A lot of the Mobile Fidelity silver CDs actually sound better than the gold CDs because they changed the whole mastering. That's a whole other show. Anyway, go Davey, sorry.
Now, I played the CD in my car a lot recently, and the volume is very low, so I have to crank up the volume, but it sounds very good. And in the original vinyl in 1977, this came with a poster, and there is a mini reproduction of the poster, the 5 guys in the band, that great STYX logo. So it's a little fold-up poster that goes right in the CD. Kind of cool. So I broke that out. And now the album itself, it's STYX's 7th album, their 3rd on A&M. It was released 7/7/1977. Their lucky 7th album, their huge breakthrough album. 39 minutes long, recorded at Paragon Studios in Chicago, produced by the band. Production assistant and engineering by Barry Mraz, whom we've mentioned before, and also helping with the engineering, Rob Kingsland. Jim McCrary did the photography. Roland Young, who I think is related to James Young, the guitar player, did the art direction. Chuck Beeson did the album design, and Kelly and Mouse did the album cover painting that looks just like The Blank Signature by Renee Magritte. Now, back in the day on FM Rock Radio, when this came out, I heard 4 tracks from the album. The Grand Illusion, Fooling Yourself, The Angry Young Man, Come Sail Away, and Miss America. I remember hearing those songs on NEWFM here in New York and WPLJ when they were a great rock station. The album has 8 songs, so we're going to start right in with track number 1, The Grand Illusion, written by Dennis DeYoung, sung by Dennis DeYoung. The first lead guitar on the song is by Tommy Shaw. The second is by James Young. Guitar fills by Tommy Shaw on this song. And this is a fan favorite song that was never released as a single, but it's been played live at almost every single STYX show since 1977. It's got a strident keyboard intro. It's carnivalesque, and with the opening on keyboards and the guitar power chords. And I would say that this defines the phrase pomp rock, which I'm sure the critics meant it a slam against STYX, because STYX weren't considered cool back in 1977. They weren't from California. They weren't from New York. They weren't the Ramones, who were critics' darlings. And Grant and I love the Ramones. And you guys, after the show, we did a Ramones album ranking. You should search that out on Grant's Rock Warehouse. And Martin Popoff popped in. It's a great
Never heard of him. Yeah. Davey, I want to say something real quick. I don't mean to interrupt, but when you mentioned The Grand Illusion and you mentioned James Young and Tommy Shaw guitar parts, the guitars on this album, the guitar sounds, the guitar playing, the solos on this album, absolute perfection. The Tommy Shaw solo on here, I don't know if he's using a wah pedal to get a certain tone out of it, but it's absolutely one of my favorite guitar solos of all time. The stuff James Young does, like on, Miss America, as a guitar album, I know we're kind of proggy. There's a lot of keyboards, but man, this is one of those records that they hit it out of the park as far as, guitars are great. Keyboards are great. The production's great. The songs are great. Everything's great. But man, those guitars on that opening track, killer. What a killer opener. Go back to it.
The guitars and the keyboards are kind of blaring. They're louder in the mix than the rhythm section. And we've discussed this in past episodes. This is our 4th episode. If you haven't seen any of the first 3, go back and check them out when we're done with this show. So we said how in the early, more the wooden nickel years, that you could hear the rhythm section more. They're doing more interesting things. They're still there. You could hear them, but they pick and choose their spots, and they sort of fade into the background just a little, because the guitars, the vocals, and the keyboards, that's what's high up in the mix. So like I was saying, with pomp rock, I'm sure the critics meant it, they're pompous. They're talking about these big ideas and these songs, and they're just a band from the Midwest. Who are they to tell us what to think and what to do? Because they weren't from LA. They weren't from New York, so STYX were always looked down upon, just like REO Speedwagon, another band from the Midwest. And there are plenty of others as well. For years, the band added some extra guitar firepower when they played this live. When Dennis sings, I'm not going to sing, I'm going to say it. When he sings "Welcome to the Grand Illusion," then he goes right to the next line, "Come on in and see what's happening." For the live versions, "Welcome to the Grand Illusion," and then "Come on in and see what's happening." So they even made it more of a heavy hard rock song live. They did that for years, then they stopped, and then they did go back to it. So I think that adds a lot to the live version. It just makes it more powerful and just in your face and more rock and roll. Now, Chuck Panazzo's bass playing pops out a bit in the chorus here, and he has some ringing bass notes in the final verse. Boom, boom, and you hear it ring for a couple of seconds, so I like that. His twin brother, John, also has some nice China work in this section of the song, right as Dennis is doing like the last little verse, and then it goes back to the beginning of the song, that outro, dun, 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 and then it fades out. But live, when they did it, they always made it really a rocking extended an outro, I mean. an outro to the song. So really, this song really rocks live. And basically, the song is about Dennis DeYoung's disillusionment with what was going on in the 70s in America, the loss of the American dream, you might say, the way he felt about the recording industry. And he thought, I wrote this song, it became a hit, Lady. We signed to a major label, A&M. We put out 2 albums that are really good that most of us love, Equinox and Crystal Ball, but they didn't set the charts on fire. So he was a little disillusioned, and that's what this album is about, his disillusionment. And then the other guys wrote about similar themes. It's not a concept album. I'd say it's a thematic album.
Yeah.
But this is a great, powerful opening track. You have any more thoughts on it?
I have a lot of thoughts. Keep going, though.
Oh, to the next song?
Yeah, go ahead. Keep going. You're doing good. Just, I don't want to interrupt your flow.
Okay, thanks. The next song, Fooling Yourself, 5.5 minutes long, written by Tommy. It's sung by Tommy Shaw, and this was the second single from the album. The B-side was the grand finale, the last track, which we'll get to. In Australia, where our friends Peter Kerr and Bicycle Legs are, it hit number 42 on the singles chart. Canada, number 20, where we have our buddies Mike Lodano, Martin Popoff, Tim Derling, and of course Sydney from Slogan's Rock and Metal Extravaganza. It was number 20 in Canada. Netherlands, 28. The US, it just reached the top 30 at number 29. And for the Canadian year-end chart, it hit 158 in 1978. I called the song Prague with a capital P because the intro and the outro are in a 6/8 time signature. Dennis DeYoung's great synthesizer solo in the middle is in 7/4. And then during Tommy Shaw's vocal sections, the verses and the choruses, the song is in 4/4. So you think with all those weird time signatures, it wouldn't work, but somehow it all gels together and comes together perfectly. And this is a great second song on the album. Tommy Shaw's acoustic work, it's sort of like a folk song that's wrapped up as a prog song. Really good song. I've always loved this song. Chuck Panazzo's bass is prominent throughout, and I wrote down Dennis DeYoung's keyboards simply rule on this song. Before Dennis DeYoung's keyboard solo, Tommy Shaw says in a very low, almost inaudible voice in the background, "Come on, doctor." It's very low in the mix right before Dennis's keyboard solo because that was his nickname, the Doctor. They're in the 70s. That's what the other guys in the band called him. Now, Tommy Shaw initially wrote this song about Dennis because he saw that Dennis DeYoung was upset and frustrated with the band, how they couldn't, it was like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. They couldn't just break through to this mainstream huge audience, and they saw a lot of other bands doing that. So he said, oh, Dennis, he's so angry. He's a young guy. Why is he so angry? Why is he so bitter? And years later, Tommy Shaw came to realize that the song, he saw more of himself in it than Dennis. So it's a really good track. Love this song. It's catchy. It's upbeat. It's buoyant.
Trey said, I thought he said, turn me on, dead man.
That's the Beatles.
Trey, that's great. I do want to mention something. You mentioned Chuck Panazzo's bass. You remember in those older shows, and you listen to a lot of those early STYX albums, how Chuck really, I don't know if he emulated Chris Squire, but there was a lot. If you really listen with headphones and really pick out his bass playing, Chuck is all over it. As he progressed in STYX, as they became much more of a commercial, I guess, entity, his bass playing got simpler and simpler. But I really think everyone go back to those Wooden Nickel albums and listen to Chuck's playing on those.
And he was playing a Rick back then, too.
Yeah, so yeah, he's probably still playing a Rick on here, I think. He didn't get the Olympic yet. But he's still playing a Rick. You look at some of those later ones when they bring him out, he plays his Rick on there. Anyway, but man, what a good player. But I kind of feel bad because I know he is such a good bass player, but on this stuff, he just gets very rudimentary as far as his playing goes. You know, it's just very simple. But man,
it's still catchy. Boom,
it is
boom,
catchy,
boom,
but...
boom. So it adds to the song.
It does. But, you know, man, I miss, and I know it's not as proggy, Davey, but, you know, it's more of a pop type of stylistic choice. But anyway, I just want to mention that.
70s Yes in Kansas are for the more proggy, adventurous stuff.
He could play that stuff.
On a tangent and start mentioning band names, but then Rand's ears will be burning if we.
We don't want Rand's ears to burn off. Well, maybe
so let's
we
move
do.
on. You have anything to say about fooling yourself?
What's that?
You have anything to say about fooling yourself? Anything you'd like?
One of my favorite Tommy Shaw songs of all time. I mean, this is quintessential Tommy Shaw. Nice acoustic guitar on it. Great Tommy vocals. Come on. It's a classic. It's a hit.
And
Rated 10 out of 10.
The first time I was on your channel, it was for a Tommy Shaw show that we did. So look that up too. Our favorite Tommy Shaw songs that we did over
That's
a year
right.
ago.
Gosh, I forgot about that.
Long time ago. So that's in the archives at the Warehouse. Check
it's in row number. I think it's in row 7. Go check it out.
Is it in row 7? Do you remember?
Well, when Logan worked for me, he used to keep things pretty tidy, but since he doesn't work for me anymore, and God knows what the hell Marlon's doing anymore, the Warehouse has suffered, but it's okay. Maybe I can hire George. George might work for me. I have to talk to him. Maybe DC will work for me.
Track 3 from the album, just under 4 minutes, written by James Young, Dennis DeYoung, and Tommy Shaw. Tommy Shaw sings this one, though, except the vocal soliloquy, say that 3 times fast. I could barely say it once. Soliloquy, there we go, is by Dennis the Menace DeYoung. This should have been a single. It should have been the 3rd single. I don't know why it wasn't.
It was a flip side to Come Sail Away.
Yep. It's the shortest song on the album, not including the grand finale, which is more of a wrap-up, an epilogue to the album, I guess you could say, than a song. The song is very catchy. It starts off with the chorus, which not too many STYX songs do. Then Tommy Shaw takes over on the lead vocal for the verses. Lead guitars by Tommy Shaw. The single could have chopped out Dennis DeYoung's soliloquy to make it more palatable to pop radio, AM radio, at like 3.5 minutes, 3:20, whatever. Would have been more concise. It's a good song. It's probably my least favorite song on the record, not including the grand finale, but it's still a decent song. Would you like to add anything? Or?
No, I love Superstars. I love everything about this record.
Okay.
You can imagine what I'm going to rate this. I've liked it ever since I was a kid when I heard it, and I still love it. So anyway, keep going. You're good. You're fine.
Before I go on to track 4, which is Come Sail Away, I bought this record late in 1977. It came out, like I said, July 7th of 77. But I remember after Billy Joel's The Stranger came out, and I was hearing that on the radio, I bought The Grand Illusion and The Stranger at the same time. And I think that came out in October. So probably November or so, around my birthday, I bought those 2 records. So that's when I first got aboard the STYX train. After I heard the songs on the radio, I went out and bought it and fell in love with it just like you did. But I didn't get it in July. I think it was November, if memory serves. Moving on to Come Sail Away, one of the most popular STYX songs ever. It's been used in South Park. Of course, Cartman singing it. Everyone knows that. I see you smiling and laughing as I say that. That's everyone's reaction. When he heard it, he had to sing the whole song. That was the running joke on the South Park episode. It was used in the Adam Sandler movie Big Daddy. He's around our ages, so he's a big STYX fan too. Also on the TV show, Freaks and Geeks. And it's been used a heck of a lot of other times, but I'm not going to mention every time it's been used in media. Written by Dennis, sung by Dennis, the first single from the album. The B-side was Put Me On from the previous record we did in the last show, Crystal Ball. The single was edited down to 3 minutes and 10 seconds. Oh my goodness gracious, talk about castration.
Well, back in the day, Davey, back in the day, all I remember, you listen to like the top 40 or whatever. Casey Kasem would come on, we'd play it. And of course, they wouldn't play the album version. They played the 45. And then for the longest time, all I really heard before I bought the album, I was buying singles. Okay. But I was used to that 45 version. They cut out that whole guitar synthesizer thing with James Young. And then when I heard it later, I went, my God, what is this magic? You know what I mean? But I like either version, but it's just funny how much they cut out of it. But
yeah, we were kids. We were teenagers.
We didn't
care about that.
Yeah.
There's another version of the song where they, like you said, they just cut out the instrumental section, which is Dennis on keyboards and JY actually playing the ARP Odyssey keyboard. And that version is 4.5 minutes without that great instrumental proggy middle section. Now, is this a piano ballad or is it a prog song? Or is it a prog song masquerading as a piano ballad? Actually, I think it's both. It's a piano ballad, prog mini epic. In Canada, it hit number 9. The US, it hit number 8. And the year-end charts in Canada, it hit number 82 in 1978. Now, Dennis was so upset, like I said, that there were 2 previous A&M records that weren't successful, and he poured out his emotions into the song about his dreams of becoming a superstar and making it big. And oddly enough, this was the song that broke them, that got them huge airplay. In 1977 and 78, you couldn't escape it on rock radio, at least here in New York. And it's one of my all-time favorite STYX songs. Another perennial fan favorite. It's been played at every single STYX show since it came out. Lead guitar by Tommy Shaw, I neglected to say. He has some really nice guitar work on this song.
Oh, great stuff.
And it's a classic song, maybe the most well-known STYX song, possibly, definitely in the top 3.
You know, I'm going to bring it up again real quick. I think that Tommy Shaw and James Young, as far as guitar players, really underrated. And
yes,
like I said, this is some of my favorite guitar tones and guitars just in general on this record. And the lines that these guys come up with, they're absolutely brilliant. I wish they would get more credit, you know, because the guitar parts, the keyboard, of course, Dennis's keyboard part's absolutely brilliant on here too. But man, Jesus, I love this record. Keep going. Sorry. Just want to make comment.
Oh, it's okay. Moving on to side 2 of the vinyl, we start with a 5-minute James Young song, Miss America, written by JY, sung by JY, lead guitar by JY. Now, it starts out with a proggy synth solo by Dennis DeYoung. It's very mournful and sad, almost like something you might hear at a funeral for 52 seconds. And there's some nice, I think it's electric guitar work, low in the mix. I'm not sure if it might be Tommy doing that. Could be a 12-string, but it's some nice mellow playing, but you almost don't hear it as much because the synthesizer is louder than the guitar. And then at 52 seconds, it bursts out with JY's snarling guitar riff.
What a great riff.
And he has that dirty Strat sound. You could tell the difference between Shaw's usually playing a Gibson, a Les Paul,
right,
and he has that brighter, cleaner sound, and JY has a dirty and nastier sound for the most part. But that guitar riff is so good in this song. And now this song is about the perils and pitfalls of fame. And he uses Miss America, how you're famous 1 minute, and then the next year you're not famous. And I wrote down that this song has some stellar JY fiery fretwork on it. Heaviest song on the record, musically, I should say. And Dennis fires off a fast keyboard solo before JY's blazing guitar solo. John Panazzo has some nice drum work that at times is a little too low in the mix. And it's another live fan favorite that they've done at most of the shows since it came out.
It's probably the only
played on the radio back in the day.
Isn't that the only JY song that they even do now?
Basically,
live, yeah. I don't think they do anything else.
His voice isn't like it once was, as we've discussed in the past, so he doesn't sing much lead. He's
Logan, I'm looking forward to his rating. Yeah.
He's more the guitar player than the singer nowadays. And
but you know, on those early records, man, it was James Young all the way.
Yeah, singing at least half the songs on
or more. Oh, well, things change. But I think even James Young had mentioned, he said, well, when you get Tommy Shaw in the band,
why do I need to sing?
He'll gladly step back, you know. How can you compete with Mr. Shaw?
Exactly. Multi-talented guy. Speaking of Tommy Shaw, the next song, track 6, the second song on side 2, one of my favorite STYX songs, one of my favorite Tommy Shaw songs for that matter, written by him, sung by him, lead guitars by him, Man in the Wilderness. Coming in a little under 6 minutes in length. This was inspired when STYX opened up for Kansas, and I guess Kansas were touring Left Overture. This must have been when STYX were touring Crystal Ball. They played with Kansas, probably a couple of dates, maybe a leg of the tour. I don't know exactly. And Tommy Shaw was watching Kansas from the side of the stage, and he was blown away He said, how could they do these deep songs with this great music? And he was a big fan of Kerry Livgren's heavy lyrics. So the next time he was alone with his acoustic guitar, the song just came out of him. And it's about him trying to reach fame. And he was playing in that band MS Funk in Alabama, touring the South, playing bowling alleys. I think, in fact, he was in a bowling alley when he got the call from STYX management that they wanted to try him out for the band. And he wanted to become a superstar. So it's about that. And also when his brother, he remembered when he was a little younger, his brother went off to the Vietnam War. So when he says, I'm a soldier sent to die, never quite knowing why, it's all about his brother going off to Vietnam in the late 60s, early 70s. So it's a very heavy song, lyrically. I wrote down he penned this emotional song about his own rise to fame and his brother going to Vietnam years before. It's a soulful ballad, but it has a rocking middle section. And here I wrote down with an awesome wah-wah solo from Shaw. So the guy could play guitar.
Well, he can play anything.
Excellent guitar player.
Killer tone on that solo, Davey. Killer tone.
Wow, wow, wow. He gets a little dirty on that song. Sort of
He's a dirty boy.
Emulates JY a little bit. Great guitar solo. And Dennis has some great proggy keyboard runs throughout the song, especially during the verses when Tommy's singing. The ending also rocks with Tommy hitting some nice super high notes. And as we discussed last year, Grant,
yes,
for
sir.
anyone who doesn't know, there's a 2 CD collection, STYX, Come Sail Away, the anthology. I still have my original hype sticker here, actually over there. And this has a longer version of Man in the Wilderness. Let me take the cover out to show you.
Yeah, show the class.
Okay, there it is. STYX, Come Sail Away, the anthology. And there's my little, can we get that? My little hype sticker is still there. Hard to see, but I
like
saved
a damn
it.
professional, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm a STYX nerd. But the version on here is 1 minute longer. So definitely seek this out. You could hear it. It's on YouTube, probably on Spotify and the other streaming services. Instead of 6 minutes, it's a 7-minute version. And you hear Tommy going off slightly vocally, but more on the guitar work. There's some nice lead guitar that they just cut out. Now, I used to know a guy, I'm not going to say his name, who worked for STYX Record Company many years ago. And he said there wasn't much unreleased stuff in the vaults. But after he told me that, this came out. And I said, when are STYX going to remaster their CDs? He told me that JY had a bit of a hearing loss. And this is back about 25 years ago, late 90s, early 2000s, that JY's hearing wasn't perfect. But because Dennis had just left the band, fired, got thrown out of the band, quit, whatever way you want to look at it, we'll get to that in the future, that they weren't ever going to release these individual remasters of the STYX albums. They're only remastered on STYX Come Sail Away, the anthology. And it's not every song. It's 2 CDs, 35 songs, definitely a great collection. If you don't have much STYX, that's one I would recommend. So you got to hear the long version of Man in the Wilderness. And it's just an amazing song. It's a stellar deep cut in their collection. I've always loved Man in the Wilderness. Anything to add, sir?
Well, I remember back in the day, I think, someone correct me, it's been a long time. I think that they were supposed to do a reissue campaign. And I think that STYX album was supposed to be the beginning of it. And I think some of them might have gotten remastered, but they just kind of shelved it. God, where did I read that at? I can't remember.
Of the battle, because the Young were out and Shaw and Young were going on with the band and the brand name.
Yeah, could be. I don't think they'll ever get remastered because that ship has kind of sailed. You know, you looked at gold CDs, a lot of that stuff. Well, we got the gold CD of Grand Illusion. We got the gold CD of Pieces of Eight. I don't know if they did. Did they do Paradise Theater? Can't remember, or Cornerstone, but for some reason at this point, I just can't imagine them redoing it. And those original 80s CDs sound great. There's nothing wrong with the mastering on them. You just have to crank them up more, but they sound fine to me. Some people always said that Crystal Ball and Equinox sounded a bit thin. Those came out. I think those came out in 87. I don't really have a problem with them, but I wouldn't worry about it. All right. talk a little bit about, since we're a half hour in, we probably talk a little bit about Castle Walls and the grand finale. And then if people want to start giving me their ratings out of 10, please do. I'll have Davey continue on the discussion. I will start taking people's rating and I will start the tally. And then Davey, after you're done, then I want your rating.
Okay.
So everybody go. What would you rate this out of 10? I'm ready. All right,
Castle
go ahead, Davey.
Walls, track 7, Castle Walls, written by Dennis, sung by Dennis, lead guitar by JY. The mellow octave guitar leads are by Tommy Shaw, and they add a lot to this song. Another song, Prague with a capital P. And this song is started out by Chuck Panazzo's one-note bass line. Just boom, boom, boom. And you hear Dennis breathing. Again with the breathing. I discussed that on the last show. But here it fits in better than it does on This Old Man from Crystal Ball. So you get 12 beats, the plucks of the bass string, and then the keyboards come in. And John Panazzo is accentuating this whole intro with some sweet cymbal work. The vocals come in and the song builds to a crescendo with the first chorus. At 2:32, that's when the Prague returns with a wonderful midsection of aggressive sounding keyboards from Dennis. Now. It's almost like a guitar, but it's keyboards, very aggressive sounding. And you got
Jay's giving. Wait a minute. Jay gave me a B plus. Jay, I need a number out of 10. A B plus. What's that? An 8? I'm going to go with 8.
Cool with a B plus.
I'm going to go with 8. Jay's trying to be creative.
So in the midsection, you get these aggressive keyboards from Dennis. You get great power chords from James Young and Tommy Shaw with some nice feedback too there. I'm guessing that's JY. And you get a lot of great percussive rolls punctuating everything from John Panazzo and some really nice fills in this great proggy middle section. It builds and builds and builds and it climaxes. And then at 3:49, there's a dead stop and it goes back to Chuck's bass. Boom, boom, boom. But it's only for, I think, 8 plucks, 8 beats that time. And then Dennis comes in with some swirling organ work. And it builds up again. You get the biting guitars that return before JY's angry solo. And it's a great solo. And besides that great angry solo, there's some really good Tommy Shaw crunchy rhythm guitars. Bow, bow, now, now, bow, now, now, bow, now, now, now. Adds so much to the song. Like you said, the guitar work, this might be my favorite guitar moment on the album. So darn good. And they're so high in the mix. And the final chorus brings the song to its mellow, dreamy 40-second finale, and it fades out. Another highlight in the STYX canon to me. Man in the Wilderness into Castle Walls, my 2 favorite songs on the album, easily. As much as I love Come Sail Away, might be a tad overplayed a little, still an amazing song, probably my 3rd favorite. But this is an album with so many great songs on it. And then we come to the last song, which is It a Song? It's under 2 minutes, written by Dennis, James, and Mr. Thomas Rowland Shaw. Vocals by Dennis, lead guitar fills by Tommy, and JY this time has the melodic lead guitar work. It's more of an epilogue than a song. It wraps up the themes of the album. You got the great harmonies on every song, and especially on this one. And it wraps up the album, and then it has that keyboard fade out, that organ type sound. And it reminds me of the end of the Beatles' Abbey Road, A Day in the Life, that note that goes on forever. This is sort of a lighter version of that. So you get the Beatles' little touch at the end of the album, and that's the album.
Excellent. Davey, what would you rate that out of 10?
So
come on. Don't disappoint me like Sydney.
What did Sydney
Sydney, he gives side 2 as a 10, but he's very complicated. Sorry, I know it's considered a classic, but you like what you like. Side 2 is a 10. Side 1 is a 2. Side 1 is a 2? Oh, my God.
Shades of Triumph when he gave Surveillance a 2, but that's on their channel. Oh, man. I'm going to have to give
we
it.
we already know Sydney's very out of touch on music, so let's
Sydney,
be fair.
why'd you have to go and make things so complicated, as your fellow Canadian says?
Ooh, and he says, "Sing for a Day is a wall puncher. Come Sail Away is close."
Sing for the Day is on the next album, not on the Grand Illusion. But we're going to get to that in a few minutes. I'm
feel my
going to
blood
give this
pressure going up.
I'm giving this a 9.75.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give it a 10.
Okay, I saw that
because I
coming.
love it, and I took, and I believe that Gary said Pete Pardo would probably rate it a 10, so I put Pete's rating in here as well.
Nice.
That's how I roll. So I'm going to give it a 10. And all right, ladies and gentlemen, Logan says Sydney is complex. Oh, I don't let Sydney get to me. I just don't know how Sydney was able to get through the world this so far in life. So let's calculate it. Please provide numbers only. Well, I did. Wait a minute. Did I supply something that's not a number? Hold on.
The B plus?
Maybe. Oh, I know what I did. Hold on. Shit. Oh, you can't do. I know what I did. All right. Well, numbers are hard. Okay. We come up with an 8.95 from everybody.
Nice. It's a 9.
Hey, I accept that. That I would have to believe out of all these ranking shows that we've done, this is kind of a ranking show. Well, I don't know what you call it. Out of all these shows that we've done where we look at these records and we take a tally from everybody, I don't think we've had a record has ever scored an 8.95. So that's good.
Equinox did very well. I don't remember the exact score, but that did very well. Better than Crystal Ball did.
100%, Logan. You can't put a B plus in that's why I needed a number. Christian says that's a good number. I agree. I'm very happy with it. All right. Excellent. Sorry, Davey. I'm trying to post, and you know how we do this show. Davey, why don't you start us off with Pieces of 8?
Here's the album cover if you'd like to change.
I'll make you big. Oh, I probably should change here we go. Here, I'll make you big because I know you have stuff to show. All right, go ahead.
There it is, the album cover by Hypnosis. This was their first album cover by Hypnosis. Everyone thinks that it was Equinox, but that was not a Hypnosis album cover. I'm done with the show and tell. If you want.
Oh, that's it. Okay, well,
yeah, just the album cover.
Okay, well, I'll get rid of you. Maybe we'll just leave you up like that. All right, go ahead. Jesus.
Their 8th album entitled Pieces of 8. Their 4th for A&M Records. It came out September 1st, 1978. Just like the Grand Illusion, recorded in Paragon Studios, produced again by STYX. Few minutes longer, 42 minutes long. Engineered this time, produced by STYX. Engineered by Rob Kingsland and Barry Mraz. And an associate engineer on this album, Harry Andronis, if I'm pronouncing it right. Now, in America, this reached number 6, 3 times platinum, over 3 million albums sold, and it hasn't been certified in a long time. So I'm assuming both these records are at least 5 times platinum.
I would say probably, I think you probably could be safe to say that at this point.
And on the year-end charts here in America, it was number 7 in 1979. In Australia, it hit number 70, Sweden number 30, Canada number 3. Nice. Even higher than America. On the year-end chart in 78, it was number 29. The year-end chart in 79, it was 94. It went platinum, which is 100,000 plus sales in Canada. And lastly, on the Dutch charts, number 24. So they were starting to make their ways with some chart action overseas, but still nothing in England. This band never really did anything in the United Kingdom, where a lot of their influences were from. The same 5-man lineup on this record. This time we have 10 songs instead of 8 songs, but there are 2 short instrumentals. I'll get to them. Now, I'm Okay, the second song, it has a church organ solo by Dennis that was played and recorded at the St. James Cathedral Church in Chicago. Starting out with track number 1, and this is strange for the A&M period, opening up with a JY song. Written and
Well,
sung by JY, except Dennis DeYoung does the spoken word intro. The song is called Great White Hope, little under 4.5 minutes. And it's a rocking song, some great guitar work by JY on this song. The whole thing about this, and Dennis has some nice keyboard work here, but it's about sort of how he relates, JY is relating his own struggle and him coming up in the music biz to being a fighter. And Dennis DeYoung describes him in the white outfit. So prepare yourselves for the main event, he says, and then it goes into the song, the body of the song, and JY starts singing, when I was a young man, I had to kick and scratch and claw. Now it's like Top Gun in the Old West. Everybody wants me to draw. So he's comparing himself to a fighter and struggling to the top, like to be the ultimate boxer. And he's trying to be the ultimate rock star here. It's a really good song. It's a great hard rock and JY song. They did this on a couple of tours. So they kept it in the set list through, I think, Paradise Theater. And our next episode, Grant and I will reveal when we saw STYX live for the first time. So you got to see the next episode. Just because these are the two big albums.
Get your tickets early.
About Cornerstone and Paradise Theater. So tune into the next episode next month. So Great White Hope, really good opening song. And it starts the album off with a big bang. No pun intended.
I want to mention some Great White Hope. I remember when this album came out, because, back in the day, since I was a big STYX fan, I would, you'd read Rolling Stone, you'd read whatever. And you would get the announcement that this is coming out. I got it right when it came out. And I was kind of surprised we had a James Young song, but it's such a great James Young song. And it brings you in, it rocks hard. I think it's a great, it does seem like an opening track for this record to me.
Yes.
I think the sequencing on this record's great. And I love all the songs on it. And Great White Hope, I can't imagine Great White Hope, being somewhere else on the record. It's an opening track in my mind. Is it the best song on the album? Well, depends on how you look at it. I think it is one of the great James Young tracks. I just wanted to say that. So
I concur, sir. Moving on to track number 2, written by Dennis and James Young. Lead vocals by Dennis, lead guitar on this one by Tommy Shaw. So it's all the three principals have their hands in this song. I'm Okay. This is the one with the church organ solo in the middle. It's about 5 minutes and 40 seconds. Another prog song. And Dennis was struggling on this album. He had writer's block. So that's why you get a bunch of James Young co-written songs. He wrote Great White Hope on his own. He co-writes a few others with Dennis. And Tommy Shaw, this is a big Tommy Shaw record. And he really shines on this record, but we're going to get to that. Yeah. Now, the way the song starts off, I didn't look it up, but I think they've been saying, this is the way I've heard it for years. It starts off with the John Panazzo drum beat, and then all the guys, I think it's all 5 of them, probably around one mic in the studio for this. Sounds like they say, hey, 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 shake, sit on it. And Sit on It is from Happy Days, which was a huge TV show in the late 70s. Instead of saying, F you type of thing, I'm just going to do this. Or, F off or anything like that. On Happy Days in the 50s, which took place in the 50s, they filmed it in the 70s. The big thing was sit on it. And when someone told Fonzie to sit on it, oh my goodness gracious. It was like
it's controversial.
So I'm pretty sure they say, hey, hey, shake, sit on it, and rotate, which is basically a kiss off. And I'll leave it at that. And I really like the song. Dennis has some great keyboard work on it. It's very melodic. It's memorable, and you get some excellent guitar work from Tommy Shaw on this song. And then Dennis hits a great note at the end of the song when he says, I'm okay. I love that note when he hits that high note.
Can you do that again?
Now I'm all embarrassed. Oh my goodness gracious, it's live on YouTube. I'm Okay is one of my 3 favorites from the album. Moving on to the next song, which was the second single, Sing for the Day, totally a Tommy Shaw song. Now, James Young is not on this song. He doesn't sing any backing vocals on it. He doesn't play on it. Probably the first STYX song, unless you maybe take out a keyboard instrumental that's coming up as the next song. Probably one of the few STYX songs without JY on it at all. Now, Tommy Shaw is playing all the guitars, and it says that in the credits on the CD, mandolin and auto harp. So you get these nice different textures and sounds on this song. It's very melodic. It's very catchy. It might be a little too twee and too sing-songy and happy, but it's still a good upbeat song. Now, on the charts, it didn't do as well, which is surprising because it's such a memorably melodic song. It was released a couple of times. Actually, it was released. The B-side was Queen of Spades. We're going to get to that soon. In Canada, it hit number 27, Netherlands 18, US number 41. It didn't even hit the top 40, which is surprising. And it's very catchy. Has some great keyboard work from Dennis DeYoung. And Tommy Shaw's guitar work on acoustic guitar, electric guitar, the mandolin, the auto harp, excellent. So it's a nice deep track because it wasn't really a hit. It never hit the top 40. Pretty song, maybe a little too sing-songy. Da, 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 da. So I know a lot of fans might be turned off by that, but it's a catchy, happy song. The next song, The Message, a little over a minute. Dennis DeYoung, keyboard instrumental. He's playing all the synths. And it leads right into track 5, Lords of the Ring. And I think they titled it Lords of the Ring instead of Lord of the Rings. They purposely did that so they wouldn't get sued by the Tolkien estate at this time. And of course, it's a proggy song. It's got a great middle section, keyboard, guitar, great proggy middle section. It's 4.5 minutes long. This is an odd one because it was written by Dennis the Menace DeYoung, as I like to call him. And I love the guy, so don't take me seriously when I say that. Sung by James Young. Now, JY does the middle guitar solo, and Tommy Shaw does the ending solo. And these are, like you said for the last album, more great guitar work on this song.
Oh.
And it's a really good deep track. I've liked it for years. I don't think they did it until they did the double album tour where they played all of Grand Illusion and all of Pieces of Eight. I think that's the first time they ever played it live, which was 2012, I think, if memory serves here. So that's side one. Some great Dennis keyboard work, that great strident STYX guitar work. You get those triad vocal harmonies that add to the song. Every song sounds really good, except, of course, JY isn't on Sing for the Day for whatever reason. Who knows? Maybe he was sick. Side 2 begins. Should I continue or you want to add anything?
No, I'm good. Get a drink, Davey.
I did.
What were you just talking about? Hold on. I was looking at the comments.
That's all of side 1 I finished.
Okay. What do I think of side 1? Okay. Well, like I said, Great White Hope, a great opener. I'm Okay, great Dennis song. Sing for the Day. Evidently, Sydney doesn't like that song. I don't know why, but he must be deaf or something, which I think is great. Tommy Shaw stuff. Come on. It's kind of like, I kind of look at it like it's kind of like the fooling yourself of Pieces of Eight. There's a lot of things on Pieces of Eight that I think kind of crossover. It's like, Queen of Spades I always look at as kind of like a new take on Miss America. Not Miss America, but Sweet Madam Blue. You know what I mean? But Lords of the Ring, it's funny. It almost seems like when I listen to this record, at least side 1, it seems like that's kind of like more the proggy type because you've got The Message, Lords of the Ring. At least it seems like it's a little bit more of the proggy side. And the other side, you've got kind of more of it's still proggy. More of the hard rock side. Blue Collar Man and Renegade and all that. Queen of Spades, Jesus. What a good record. But yeah, the first side's kind of the more proggy side. But you'll find out what I'm going to rate it. So, But I want to say, since we are having in the break, since we're going to try to keep these shows to an hour and we're getting close. If people want to start giving me their rating on this out of 10, I will start compiling. So go ahead if you want to give me your rating. In the meantime, Davey, why don't you start talking about side 2? Okay. And I'll just keep track of this and I'll give my thoughts after you're done. All right.
Okay. One thing to add about Lords of the Ring, that middle section.
Yeah.
Dennis DeYoung layers his keyboards like Tony Banks used to do in Genesis and John Lord did in Deep Purple, because it sounds like monks or a choir chanting, but it's definitely some kind of synth. Oh, it sounds really good. It adds a lot
Yeah,
to
I'm
the
not
song.
sure
He's
what
playing
that.
some Portal keyboards, so he layers his keyboards in a proggy way, really good. Side 2 starts off, and this is the Tommy Shaw side, definitely. Starts off with a 4-minute Blue Collar Man. It was a single, released a couple of times. B-side, one time was Superstars. Another time was a Coup. The single version, instead of being a little over 4 minutes, was 3 minutes and 37 seconds long. It reached number 98 in Australia, number 9 in Canada, so it hit the top 10. Number 47 in the Netherlands, number 21, right outside of the top 20 in America. Year end for 78 in Canada, peaked at 99 there. Really good rock song, still played on classic rock radio to this day. Everyone knows this STYX song. It's up there with, like I said, Come Sail Away, and one other we're going to get to in a minute. Great organ work by Dennis DeYoung on this song, I must add. And Tommy Shaw's guitar work. He sings it, does the lead guitars. Great Tommy Shaw spotlight song on here. Roland, as I love to call him, which is his middle name. This is an excellent cut by Roland. Moving on, here is the amazing deep track of the record to me. Almost 5 minutes, 40 seconds, written by James Young and Dennis DeYoung. Everyone thinks he's a balladeer, he's a wimp rocker. No, the guy could rock. We've said it before, and I'm saying it again. He does rock. He can rock. He sings this one. JY does the lead guitar work. The song is Queen of Spades, my favorite song on the record, hands down. It starts out mellow with some nice bass work from Chuck, some keyboards, and then it builds up, and Dennis DeYoung has a great angry vocal on the song. This guy could sing, one of my favorite singers of all time, Dennis DeYoung. The solo in the middle by JY, what a solo. And then that ending solo he does, it's almost like he's doing a one-hand, like power down. And then it has that feedback sort of holding the note ringing out at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And then that mellow part comes back. This is prog. This is hard rock. One of my favorite STYX songs, Queen of Spades. If you don't know it, listen to it. You will love it if you're into hard rock. Then we get to Renegade, another single. Sing for the Day was the B-side. This was the third single from the record. Hit number 10 in Canada, top 10. This is a hard rock, almost a heavy metal song, and it hit number 16 in America. I still can't believe that. Year-end chart, it hit in Canada, number 93 in 1979. Number 67 for the year-end Hot 100 in the U.S. Little over 4 minutes. Tommy Shaw on vocals, he wrote the song, yet it's JY doing the great lead guitar solo here.
Well,
so it's a combination of the two guitarists, and this is probably the third most well-known STYX song, still played to this day on classic rock radio. Any thoughts on it?
I never get tired of it. They play that damn song every day. I swear to God, on these classic rock radio stations every freaking day. But for some reason, I don't get tired of it. I don't get tired of it. You think I would, but I don't.
Maybe a little for me.
Well, I don't. I can listen to this whole record over and over again and not tire of it. But, I'm not like Sydney, who doesn't like it. So I'm definitely a Curlis Mania topic.
And
definitely.
I did a STYX show on Curlis Mania. Check it out, Principal Gary.
I've never heard of him.
Tom Curlis Mania.
I have no idea who he is.
An album album battle between these two albums. So check it out. It's there from last year sometime. Yeah. Then we move on to the penultimate track, Pieces of 8, the title track of the album.
Great.
Written by Dennis DeYoung, sung by Dennis DeYoung. Spectacular guitar work on the song from Mr. Tommy Roland Shaw. Love the guitar work on the song. Great proggy middle section, 4 minutes and 44 seconds. This is my other of my three favorites. I'm Okay, Queen of Spades, and Pieces of 8. So my three favorite songs are basically the Dennis DeYoung songs on this album. Not to slight the Tommy Shaw songs. They're just, to me, a little overplayed. At least New York rock radio just plays Blue Collar Man and Renegade to death. You know why? Because they're 4-minute songs. That's why. Pieces of 8, great proggy hard rock STYX song. Check it out if you don't know it. and the album comes to a close with, I guess you would call this an instrumental.
Instrumental.
Aku Aku, little under 3 minutes, written by Tommy Shaw, and he is credited on here with whisper chant vocals. He plays the lead guitar on it. It's a nice mellow way to end the album, but is it really a song? Is it an instrumental? So maybe I take off a little.
I think it's an instrumental. I mean, he's using the vocals kind of as an instrument, kind of to. Yeah, I'd still think it's pretty much an instrumental.
The whisper chant. I love this record, but I don't think it's quite as good as The Grand Illusion, so I gave that a 9.75. I'm giving Pieces of 8 a 9.5.
9.5, ladies and gentlemen. I think that The Grand Illusion is a perfect 10 record for me. I would probably rate this a 9.5. I don't think it's damn near just as good. The way I look at this record is that tonality wise and production wise, this and Grand Illusion sound this. It's like they both have the same tonality. When they got to Cornerstone, they changed engineers, they changed studios, and they started getting very sterile sounding. Pieces of 8, Grand Illusion, very warm sounding analog type recordings. It's funny because I do like Cornerstone. I'm not bad mouthing Cornerstone, but there was a change in production, a change in the sound of the studio that I still like it, but I don't like it as much. And, for me, when I'm rating these records, everything's got to be right. The cover has to be good. The production has to be good. The sequencing has to be good. There's a lot that makes a great record. And I think this is almost right up there with Grand Illusion. I like all the songs, but it does have a lot of instrumental type things. You could look at Aku Aku as a filler where they, we also have Dennis who was going through a writing block. He wasn't 100%, though. I don't have a problem. I mean, Queen of Spades alone could be, that's a 10 out of 10 track. You can't tell me Dennis wasn't bringing it. He was bringing it. But Renegade is a 10 out of 10. Blue Collar Man, 10 out of 10. The Message is that filler. Depends on how you look at it. It might be filler. Same with Aku Aku, because Aku Aku's fine, but there's nothing really like that on Grand Illusion. Grand Illusion just.
Songs. Grant, I can't hear you.
Hit the button. So okay. I think if what I would do, I think I gave this I think I would give this a solid 9.
Wait, you said 9.5 now?
I'm changing it back because I'm talking myself down once I look at it. I'm going to go with 9. Grant rated so hard he muted. That's what I always, when I go on a rant, it causes the mute button to go off. Well, maybe Aku Aku should have been longer, Ken. Maybe it wasn't fully realized. Ultraviolet, 9.5. Okay, I got it. All right, 9.5. Okay. Ash says not my favorite. God, I might have to put him in a timeout along with Sydney. We'll just have to hold off on that. Wait a minute. Hold on, people. What did you give it? A 6 out of 10. Okay. Christian's giving it a 10. Golly, you guys are really coming in hard on this record. What else? Anybody else? I think I got Zane, I get all worked up on these shows. Mark's giving Grand Illusion. What? Damn it, Mark, you're late. But that's all right. Pieces of 8, a 10. All right, I got that. I can't add you to the Grand Illusion, but that's okay. Okay, Randy's coming in with a 9. All right. Again, I appreciate everybody tuning in. I appreciate everybody coming on, giving their 2 cents in, because really, we are here as a community, and we're trying to turn people onto STYX and which albums they should start out with. So far, I can already tell that this is going to rate pretty damn high. All right, we got BM Bolt, who must have woke up from his nap. 8. You're going to go with an 8 point. What is that? An 8 or a 9?
9. Pieces of 8 is a 9.
Okay. God, numbers are hard. Okay, Gary Joyce, 8.9. Yeah, we'll with that 9.5. Okay. All right. I think we're good. Byron, the show started at 8. Yeah, you know what? This is an observation. The running joke here in the warehouse is Ernesto. Well, first of all, he doesn't show up for shows. 2, when he shows up for shows that he's supposed to be on, he shows up late. Byron's kind of taken over that spot. He just kind of comes in whenever. I don't know. I'm just giving him shit. Ken, did you just come in with your score? Okay. I'm just on I am still tired from that damn boat ride. I am on a tangent. Okay, you ready?
Boat on the river.
My wife keeps me busy.
Busy.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Busy. Yep.
Trey rewatched Pete Pardo's interview with Dennis again recently. Totally hilarious. A great interview. If you have not seen it, that is a 10 out of 10, baby. You thought this record was a 10 out of 10. Hey, Psycho. He's been hiding. He hadn't been over here for a while. Psycho Howard, nice to see you. Ernesto is here. He's going to give this an 8. Ratings 10 and 9 point. God, I have so many ratings. This is exciting. I've never taken so many scores. All right, I'm going to call it because we need to get going. We have lives to change. All right, everybody. I'm going to calculate it. I got everybody's score. And we come up with it 8.88.
Slightly lower.
Slightly lower. So, hey, whatever. It's damn close, you know. DC saying hello. Here, I'll make you big. Hold that up there, Davey. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. There he is. D. Rockard, it's tough for me to give a 10. One would be BOC Secret Treaties. Well, Ken, I get that.
Ooh, I love that album.
That's a good. I'm going to make you not as big because we don't want to scare too many people.
Exactly.
Miscalculated. All right.
Shave for the show.
Oh, he does look good, doesn't he? He looks all smooth. Looking good. All right, cool. I appreciate it. This was kind of a wild show. I do want to thank everybody in the chat. Hopefully people that watch this can get turned on to STYX. And I think, well, Davey, if you're going to recommend albums to get started with, I'm assuming you would recommend starting out with these.
These two. Exactly. These are the ones. Exactly.
Yeah. First Boston.
This greatest hits collection. Did you ever get this, Grant? With the
yes, I did because of you. Excellent. It is worth the price of admission for the extended version of Man in the Wilderness. You've got to have it. STYX starts going downhill after. Well, it'll be interesting to see what our take will be for next month. I don't know. I like Cornerstone. I like Paradise Theater. I even like Kilroy a lot better now than I did at the time. Back when it came out, I hated it. Rush Moving Pictures is a 10.5.
Better than a 10. Wow.
I don't know how that could be. Logan's past. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Logan is past his bedtime. He goes to bed usually at 7 p.m. But he came and stayed and watched the show. I appreciate it. All right, everybody, let's wrap it up. So Davey will be back. We will be doing Cornerstone and Paradise Theater.
And talking about our live experiences.
And talking about our live experiences.
And just a fast tease for a future show.
Go ahead.
Talking about when I met the band backstage. 4/5 of the classic lineup. So look forward to that coming up in a future show. Just because the albums aren't as good, there are going to be some great stories.
Well, I don't know. We haven't done it yet. Depends on it. Paradise Theater is very thought after. I'm just saying. Big record. I just don't like the production as well. Because I think Paradise Theater and if you look at Paradise Theater and Kilroy, they sound like the exact same production style. You could interchange all that. They sound exactly the same to me. All right. I want to thank everybody. What?
Could I just say one fast thing? Not about my channel. There's a guy on YouTube.
Please subscribe to. Wait a minute. Quiet, Davey. don't overdo it. If you like, make sure the link below to Davey's channel is down below. So please subscribe to his channel. All right, Davey, what did you want to say?
For all you STYX fans out there who are watching this, listening to this, whatever, there's a guy on YouTube named Isaac G. And I'm going to spell it out so everyone could go to his YouTube channel. He puts up live STYX concerts from the 70s, from the 80s, from all eras of the band. He spells his name ISAAC. So it's Isaac with 2 A's, 1 S, and then the letter G, as in G-Force from Gary Moore. So it's Isaac G. Check out his channel. He just put up it's an audience recording, but it's a full concert from the Paradise Theater Tour from Japan, 1982. And they do some really cool classic deep cuts on there. So check out his channel.
Check that out. If anybody was not clear about Byron, according to Byron, when he was in STYX, evidently they were his high school band. Evidently he was in STYX. It seemed weird, but I don't remember Byron playing in STYX in 79 to 82.
Secret STYX member.
Is he the secret STYX member? Gary Moore. Yeah, Byron loves Gary Moore. All right, kids, we don't want to keep any longer. Thank you, Davey. We will be back next month. I will be sending dates. I will be booking shows tomorrow, and I will be in contact. Thanks, everybody, for joining in. We will see you on the next show. Tomorrow night, Contrarians, we will be back with the live Contrarians chat. So tune in at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be there. And then tomorrow, Schnee and I will be doing a show. We will be live talking the Kinks. Excellent. RCA years. So Schnee will be back. Schnee hasn't been here for a while. I think he's been dealing with that damn hard drive of his that it's corrupted. So, but he'll be back tomorrow. All right, everybody. We'll see you. Keep it clean and wrap the rascal and, see you.
Good night. Thanks for having me on.
You got it.